Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Robin Pashby, and I am joined today by Anna Gordon. You want to introduce yourself, Anna?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Gordon. I am a mind body eating coach with Health Psychology Partners.
Yeah. And we are super excited to take just a few minutes today to go through some of the most common things that we hear from our clients who are struggling with their relationship with food or their relationship with their body or their relationship with their family as we approach the holiday season. And so we're going to go through four of the most common types of trigger scenarios that we've seen and just talk through them from the perspective of our team. So, number one, Anna, you ready? I'm gonna put this one out there for you.
Okay.
So, you fly home for the holidays, you actually make it through TSA, you get there, it's real, and you see your brother or your sister for the first time in many, many months. And the first thing he says is, "Wow, you look amazing. Did you lose weight?" Or the other, "Boy, you've really filled out from last year." Tell me what's your reaction, what your clients' reactions have been, and how do you help them figure out how to respond to those things?
Yeah, I think so. For the first one, you look amazing. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like noticing your reaction. And even when you said that to me, I was like, ooh, that feels good.
Yes.
So kind of like noticing how that feels. And then also, I know like, oh, but also like, how I look doesn't deem what I'm worth. So
Yeah.
in the kind of microsecond, having that realization. And then also within that is that question, like, did you lose weight? And I think a lot of people like don't want to answer that question. It's kind of knowing that you don't have to like answer the question. You don't have to like say, "Oh, I'm, taking a weight management medication." Like you don't owe that information to anyone. I mean, if you want to share that, you are welcome to, but you can also decide that you don't want to answer the question and you can just say, "Thank you. How are you? Nice to see you too."
Yes,
Reflect.
totally. You know what? It's so interesting because when I work a lot with physicians about how to talk to patients, it's the same thing, right? So this type of work is really helpful, not just in family settings like we're talking about, but also, I mean, healthcare professionals, right? Like you might walk into your doctor's office and they might say, "Wow, you've lost weight." Or you might walk into your office and your colleague might say the same thing, right? And so I think in the generation that we're in now, where we have access to medications like the GLP-1 receptor agonist that can help people change their body weight in a more predictable, reliable way, I think these questions are going to come up a lot more. And so, what I hear you saying is number one, you have to sort of know yourself, right? Like if that's something you want to engage in and want to answer, great, answer it. But most of us don't really want to talk about it. And realizing that it's like our private health information and that you can say, I'd rather not really talk about it. Like, I'm so glad to see you. Let's move on, or something like that would be okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the other side? The like, oh, you've really, packed on the pounds or you've thickened out or whatever words people say. How do you handle that one?
Yeah. That one's hard too. I think for a lot of people too, I notice that this is like an immediate reaction. And so it's kind of, again, I feel like acknowledging it and then giving, like, wanting to get space to then be like, okay, like, you know, I feel a certain way about that, or like even, whatever, having some kind of emotion and wanting to have that in private. Um, so I think I would just like say hi and then I would go to the bathroom or
Mhm.
leave.
Yeah, like take a time out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think it's interesting, like we get in these situations because of just circumstance, right? You show up at your family's home or something, and everyone seems to believe that it's okay to comment on other people's bodies. And I know that you and I work really hard in advocacy in other areas to make sure that people know that actually commenting on someone's body is not okay. But we still have a lot of work ahead of us in that regard. So these are situations that people are going to have to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also making that choice of like how much do you want to like educate others? Because there's another option is you can say like, hey, you're not supposed to talk about people's bodies, which you can do.
Yeah.
But also maybe you don't want to go there at the moment.
Right. Right.
That choice.
Yeah. And the like a third option even is to say, boy, like that makes me feel uncomfortable, right? Just sort of acknowledge in the
Yeah.
moment. And that that can be really hard to do, especially when you feel really raw, like they've touched a nerve. And so I think the idea of having lots of different ways of handling that is probably pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to scenario two. So, while catching up with your mom, she lets you know that her best friend's daughter recently went vegan and lost 15 pounds and got a new job. Isn't that great news? She asks with a lot of joy. So, tell me about clients that have had this scenario.
Yes, this is the unsolicited advice.
Yes,
Um, yeah, this is a good one. I think also interesting that it's with your mom, which I feel like is a different maybe conversation than like with your brother or someone
yes,
else. So this might be like maybe you do want to kind of set a boundary with your mom about like when you make suggestions about my diet or my weight, it makes me feel like you don't love me the way I am or however you feel.
yeah.
Um, and kind of sharing that with you, like, can we not do
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Um,
What's interesting is as because I am a mom, I try really hard not to do things like
yeah,
this. But however, I think in that case, like I hear stories like this, I know you do all the time, right? And I think from a mom's point of view, it's like, I'm not talking about your weight, right? I'm talking
yeah,
about my friend's daughter's weight. But one of the goals here is to help people, of all ages and ranges to recognize that if someone is struggling with their own body image, that we have a lens through which we hear comments, right?
hmm
And
yeah,
sometimes like this mom might actually not be meaning anything about your weight, but it'd be really hard to separate that in the moment and not feel like it's a personal comparison or something, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, I also really like the idea, Anna, of talking to your mom about this sometimes, kind of like before it happens. So
yeah,
sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's really hard, right? Like you're feeling triggered or you're feeling vulnerable, and it's really hard to say what is on your mind.
yeah,
But if you can think ahead of time, working with one of us or something like that, and figure out a way of addressing this sort of comment with your mom ahead of time, then you suddenly have the avenue to say something like, "Hey, mom, remember we talked about it? Like, whether or not you mean it, it kind of lands in a rough way for me." And usually it goes so much better if you've
yeah,
had a conversation in a non-triggering moment.
yes. And that's also helpful if you're worried about it ahead of time, like before you're even going home for the holidays, you're already thinking and stressing about it to
Yes,
kind of like do something about it.
totally, totally. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to scenario three. This one, whew, yeah. So you've just finished making your plate at either Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner or some other holiday, and your aunt sort of glances over and says, "Wow, you must be hungry. That's a lot of food." Ugh. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And how do you handle that?
Um, yeah, I
Mm,
think this is another one where it's like maybe they actually didn't mean anything about you. It's just kind of like a comment. Um, so originally I would be like, I think that my initial kind of reaction is wanting to like justify it. And I feel like a lot of people
yes.
want to do that. And just, kind of noticing that and then reminding yourself that you don't have to justify anything.
Yeah.
Um, you could say something like, you know, everything looks so good or whatever.
Mhm, mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but yeah, I think just knowing that uh, you don't have to justify it and it's kind of none of your business and their business. And also that whatever they are saying about the food on your plate is about them. It's not about you.
It's so true. It's so true. I really like the everything looks so good. It's just sort of like taking that comment and like letting it just slip off you,
Yeah.
right? Like this is not about me. This is has nothing to do with my worth or my decision making or anything. It is like completely reasonable to eat food at a holiday gathering. Like, like
Yeah.
why is there a stigma attached to that? But of course, the truth is there is, right?
Yeah.
And if you're someone that has struggled with eating or body or weight or shape or all of those things, it can feel so painful actually to have someone like look at your plate. And whether or not the aunt actually says anything, right? We know what the looks mean.
Yes. So true.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very hard. Okay, let's do the last scenario here. While accepting a slice of pie, your 15-year-old niece says, I am definitely not eating tomorrow. Oh, this just like makes me so sad thinking
Yeah.
about that. But tell me what you would help coach a client through with that one.
I mean, I think again, it's recognizing what do you get about that because she's making a comment about herself, but probably that's going to have an experience for you. So kind of like you don't, I think in a lot of this is like reminding people that you don't have to respond right away. You can just kind of like not respond and
The
just kind of,
power of the pause.
yeah, power of the
Yes,
pause.
yes.
So I would notice what that feels like and then like send love, like maybe
Mhm.
even just like energetically to yourself and to your niece.
Yeah.
Um, and if you want to, share more about your health journey with her later or something, there's something more that you're kind of calling to do. I think that's good, but I would notice and love up on it probably.
It's like in some ways, love is the antidote to so much of that shame that
Yeah.
gets triggered so often. One other thing that comes to my mind is depending on the relationship, of course, depending on where you are in your own health journey. But I could see someone saying, like I spent years thinking things like that. And I realized how like detrimental it was for me. That's it. You
Yeah.
know, just sort of like modeling for a younger generation of girls or boys too, that this journey is something that can really cause harm to us, and that our ability to sort of like let go of that or to move past that or to work through that is within reach. And you don't have to be fully there to like own the progress that you've made, however small the progress feels to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah, yeah. So if we had to sort of summarize, I hear a couple things. Number one, I hear from you like, remember, you don't have to respond to
Hmm.
every comment that comes your way. Number two, the power of the pause. So take
Yeah.
a breath, notice your reaction, right? Notice how it makes you feel, and then decide whether or not you're choosing to respond in that moment. But the other thing is just this idea that we don't have to go into these situations feeling out of control or feeling less than or feeling really, really tense. Like I have a client that used to get the worst migraine headaches
Oh.
before going home to see her family. And she had a great relationship with them, except about body and food stuff.
Hmm.
And like the tension that she would carry up until those moments is just debilitating at times. So anything we can do to sort of help people take that down a notch, right? Feel a little more empowered can go so far.
Yeah.
Really can.
I think that's the other thing I heard through all of these is like the emphasis is really on taking care of yourself as opposed to like fixing your family or like fixing your whole relationship. It's about like having a nice holiday experience or whatever it is you're trying to get out of that time and then just kind of keeping that kind of front and center as your goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's super helpful. And I hope that we wanted to keep this short and sweet as a way that you could pop in, listen to some strategies that we've had tried and true discussions with our clients about over the years. And hopefully some of these have helped you. And if you have any interest in working with one of our coaches or one of our therapists on our team, we have contact information in the links below. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.